New seasons, new gear. Show the world what it means to be a fan in 100% authentic gear. Fanatics, officially licensed everything.
Get ready to dive into a new world of online shopping with the Fins TailGate. Whether you're a die-hard sports fan or just looking for the latest fashion trends, we've got you covered. With a wide variety of products from your favorite sports teams to stylish accessories and home decor, we're your one-stop shop for all things tailgate. Our easy-to-use website and hassle-free checkout process make shopping with us a breeze. Plus, with frequent sales and discounts, you won't want to shop anywhere else. So come on in and join the party at the Fins TailGate, your new go-to destination for all things tailgate.
Attention, please. May I have your attention, please? This is a public service announcement by the TFTG. Late night sale is back. 10 p.m. Saturday.
Yeah. Let's go. We just gotta go hard. I go the hardest. I bring the pain. Not what you used to. It's all part of the game. Yeah, I just gotta go hard. I just gotta go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Yeah, oh yeah, the beast back. Adrenaline pumping through my veins, can't relax. Original, I am not the same as these cats. I sting them if they never ever mind and they beeswax. I don't ever cap, but I'm wearing like 3 hats. Never been a rat, but I know where the cheese at. You'll never get a trophy cause they all here where we at. You better believe that. When it's all said and done, I'll still be here standing. Never took a loss and it ain't something that I'm planning. I dare you to say something. My focus is A1. Every dog has its day. It's been mine since day one. This is real grinding. I'm still climbing. While you still trying, I'm still shining. It's real blinding. And I'm getting hotter too. Talking top 2, I'm not a 2. You let the pressure bother you and I do what I gotta do. Let's go hard. Close to me, flow is on atomic. I'm starting fires through poetry. The heart is out, staying loyal, no falling out. And if you step into the court, be ready, we balling out. Yeah.
Good morning, Fin fans. Good morning, everyone. This is TFTG's Top of the Tailgate. I'm your host, Ali the Persian. How's it going? How's everybody doing? Hope all is well. It's Tuesday morning. It's currently 6:05 a.m. And, it looks like it's going to be a hot one today. Today, it's currently 84 degrees, high of 90, low of 79. It's going to be a wet one in Miami, as it looks like there's going to be some rain in today's forecast, primarily partly cloudy. But as we go along throughout the day, it looks like we're going to get higher chances of rain. But yeah, feels like 92 already. It's going to be a muggy one and serves it right after last night's turbulence. Wow, we got a lot to talk about today. And when I say turbulence, it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's actually a good thing. But I didn't think it'd take off this fast like a rocket, let me tell you. So make sure, as we always start our show, make sure you hit like and subscribe. I would definitely recommend to do that. Turn on notifications, as we got a lot in the works, and it started off with yesterday. But yeah, check out some of our other content we got going on. El Capitan going Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and even Sundays calling games. And I'm going to tell you, El Capitan has a special treat for you guys either this week or by next week. I can tell you he has some people scheduled for interviews that are going to blow your mind. In addition to that, check out Top of the Tailgate with Color and myself every morning from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. We try to put out content for you. And even when I'm not available, Color will still make sure he does coffee and a cup of color. So definitely check him out. And then we got KP. KP was on the show last night. He has a show scheduled that I heard that's going to blow your socks off as well. I can't wait to see his thing. He's going to bring some hard truths. Let's put it that way. Hard truths to the community. So check out KP's show once we get that up and going. And then he got Lewis and Shake Money with Smoke Lounges, Drive Times, Twitter Spaces, Lewis and Shake Money all over the place. Check them out. And let's not forget about the newest member, Crypto in the House, with his marathon of a show last night. I want to say they went 11 and a half hours, people. 11 and a half hours or more. In fact, I went to bed before the show was even ended, and it started at 11:30, I think, yesterday. It was ridiculous. Longest show ever. So check them out. We got a lot more content. And when I say a lot more content coming in the woodworks, I'm not kidding. We have a lot of content scheduled. There's going to be a full boat of shows every single day of the week almost. So definitely check that out. Make sure you hit like and subscribe. Like I said, turn on the notifications bell because you're going to need it with all the shows we're going to be smacking you in the face with. In addition to that, if you like the content and you want more of it, we do accept donations. You don't have to, but we really appreciate it. We accept Cash App, Venmo. We also have super stickers, super chats. And the easiest way, if you really like the content and you want more of it, and the easiest way to donate to the channel and help things keep afloat, become a member. Shout out to all of our members, right? We have 3 different levels of membership. Amigos, Familia, MVP. Comes with exclusivity to certain content, as well as you get certain emojis and stuff that are inspired by you guys and that you can use in the chat. And you get some content notifications and content before anyone else does. So definitely check out the 3 different memberships. It comes with a lot more than just that as well. So shout out to all of our members. We wouldn't be here without you. We wouldn't be here without you guys that are in the chat right now. You guys, we do this for you guys at your pleasure, and we appreciate everything that you guys provide, as well as we hope you guys enjoy the show as well. So with that being said, check out in the description below. We got some cool affiliates that you might want to check out. As you saw earlier, we got Fanatics up in the house, where you can get your officially licensed everything from hats, jerseys, signed memorabilia. They have all different sports. They have all different types of gear and stuff you can wear and show off your fandom. Check out Fanatics. It's made for Fanatics. Let me tell you, I get all of my specialized hats that I get, or custom jerseys and stuff. I get it from Fanatics. So definitely check out Fanatics. Use the link below. The link below is the same, it's pretty much the same thing as going directly to Fanatics. However, when you use the link below, it basically tells them that we sent you, and it helps out the channel. So we'd appreciate it. You get the same deals, no difference. So definitely use the link below. Definitely helps out the channel. Shout out to Backroom Collection. Backroom Collection has various different artwork that you can virtually hang anywhere. I'm talking about anywhere. And this canvas artwork is customizable. They have everything from Miami Dolphins, other sports as well. And I'm sure you could probably contact them and see if you can get some custom work done as well. Very family-owned company, pretty cool people. So definitely check out Backroom Collection. And if you need more energy with all the shows we're going to be slapping you in the face for, check out Doobie Energy Drink. Doobie Energy Drink claims that, well, before I even say that, they're all smash, no crash, right? They claim that you get a lot less jittering and shaking like you do with some of the other supplements that are out there. And so far, from what I've been told by friends of the family, Shake Money, who does reviews on this, so take his word for it if you don't take mine, he does video reviews on the stuff, says it's true. He doesn't get the shaking. It also, they make claims that their stuff has a lot less of the byproducts that are harmful for you compared to some of the other companies. And they have a lot more vitamins and all natural stuff that help benefit, help benefit the brain with better focus and concentration, and whatnot. So definitely check out their stuff. They have some variety of different flavors. Shake Money, I think every Saturday does a new review on a different flavor. So definitely check out his stuff. But yeah, if you'd like to save 10% off both Doobie and Backroom Collections, use code #TFTG at checkout. Save 10% off of your order. Shout out to all of our affiliates. We thank them for the stuff that they bring, but check out the links below. And let's also not forget TFTGnetwork.com, your one-stop shop for TFTG everything, right? TFTGnetwork.com is your one-stop shop for everything that we do here. Everything from direct playlists for each individual host, and you can go directly to their playlists. I believe you're gonna still be able to have direct access to our Twitter feed and see all the tweets that we post. You'll also have direct Miami Dolphins news that gets put out on instantly. You'll get your direct access to it right there and there. We're also going to be having articles and blogs that we put out on TFTG, TFTG.com. And the blogs and articles, for me specifically, is going to start primarily throughout the season. I already have some that are out there, but I'm going to have a lot more throughout the season. And that being said, it's going to be an active blog, which means that I'm going to be updating it on the weekly as we go along through the season. So definitely check out that stuff. There's some good stuff that you can read now if you'd like, but that's going to kick off primarily during the season. What else do we have? So let's not forget the merch store. Everybody thinks about the merch store. If you sign up for the newsletter, by the way, which is a good way to get informed about TFTG events and everything, you get 10% off your first purchase in the store. And in the merch store, all the stuff that we have there, we have stuff for everybody: kids, your wife, cooking utensils, home stuff, playing cards, t-shirts, hats, mugs. We have it all. There's tons and tons and tons of stuff in there, right? Mouse pads, for example. All that stuff was inspired or brought to you by you guys in the chat. You guys as the viewers in some way inspired this. People that come up on the panel inspired this. The Buffalo Bills fans inspired us. The Jets fans inspired us. There's something for everybody in there. So definitely check out TFTGnetwork.com. We'd really appreciate it. And I think you guys will love it too. All right. So after the proceedings, shout out to everybody that's in the chat so far. So we got Trucker Sean, what's up? C. Huffle, Brian's Brains, I see you in here. Stephen LeMay, what's up, man? New member, thank you for your membership. We really appreciate it. Welcome to the family. So definitely appreciate you guys here. I know what you guys want to talk about, but we'll definitely get there. But I want to keep it moving. I know my co-host is running late. Hopefully he'll be able to join us. He was part of that marathon last night. I want to say it ended sometime after 11 something, hopefully. But I know he was at it from 6 a.m. when we started this show all the way through. So he was the marathon man yesterday. So I have to give it up to him. Coffee of the week. I usually do this with him here, but I'll do it now. He can do his own when he comes in. I'm drinking Publix coffee. It tastes good. It's good value, and sometimes you can find it for buy one, get one at Publix. It's better than your great value or budget brands, but it's It's just one level under the regular brand name, premium brands that are out there. But it tastes good. It has a very close taste to those premium brands. So shout out to Publix Premium Coffee. All right, cause for cleats. We'll move quickly into that because I have a hard stop right at 8 a.m. So we will move right into cause for cleats. Let's keep it moving. All right, here we go. So today's cause for cleats, just so you're aware, let me get this ready here. There we go. All right, so today's cause for cleats is NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Illness. NAMI envisions a world where all people affected by mental illness live healthy, fulfilling lives supported by a community that cares. Their mission, NAMI provides advocacy, education, support, and public awareness so that all individuals and families affected by mental illness can build better lives. Their values are hope. They believe in possibility of recovery, wellness, and the potential in all of us. Inclusion. They embrace the diverse backgrounds, cultures, and perspectives. Empowerment. They promote confidence, self-efficiency, and service to their mission. Compassion. They practice respect, kindness, and empathy, and fairness. They fight for equity and justice. Who they are. The National Alliance of Mental Illness is the nation's largest grassroots mental health organization dedicated to building better lives for the millions of Americans affected by mental illness. What started as a small group of families gathered around the kitchen table in 1979 has blossomed into the nation's leading voice on mental health. Today, they're an alliance of more than 600 local affiliates and 49 state organizations who work in your community to raise awareness and provide support and education that was not previously available to those in need. And I have this special video to play. So let me go ahead and get that set up here real quick. Yeah, so this tells you a little bit about their story. I'll give them the floor.
Each year, 1 in 5 U.S. adults experience mental illness, and 17% of youth ages 6 to 17 experience a mental health disorder.
I joined NAMI because I have 2 sons that live with a mental illness, and I didn't want any other families to feel alone like I did.
At NAMI, the first thing we want anyone to know is you are not alone in your mental health journey.
I just really want to talk about so people know that you don't have to go through it alone.
NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Illness, is the nation's largest grassroots mental health organization, dedicated to building better lives for the millions of Americans affected by mental illness. We started as 2 moms, gathered around a kitchen table in 1979. And today, we are an alliance of more than 600 local affiliates and 48 state organizations who work in your community to raise awareness, build advocacy, and provide support and education. NAMI envisions a world where all people affected by mental illness live healthy, fulfilling lives supported by a community that cares. Every year we are expanding, no matter race, religion, age, or sexual identity. We are people with lived experience, families and loved ones, survivors and advocates. And together, we will fight the stigma surrounding mental health and create a better world for the sake of all of us. We have resources for you and can't wait to become an extension of your family. We are here for a healthier world. We are here for better mental health. We are here for each other. Join us.
So that is NAMI. NAMI is today's cause for cleats, and as I've stated before, we're not affiliated with any of the cause for cleats that we provide here. Basically provide awareness to them. We're just providing the awareness because we think that these organizations or not companies, I should say, organizations or charities, they help people. And at some point in our lives, we may need assistance, and we may not want to admit it, but some of these resources could be helpful, not just to us, but people in our communities, maybe your neighbor, friend, family member specifically. Maybe it's somebody here that we talk to all the time and may have some type of concern, let it be through mental illness or some type of health condition or whatnot. And they may need help. They may need someone to stick their hand out and pick them back up and keep them moving, and a lot of these programs definitely provide that. If you'd like to know more about NAMI, or would like to know how to donate, how to get involved, or want more education about them, or find out more about them, go to NAMI. That's NAMI.org. Again, that's NAMI.org. That's the National Alliance on Mental Illness. So definitely check out NAMI.org. They have a lot of information there, a lot of resources, a lot of stuff about how you can help and volunteer, all that kind of stuff, and whatnot. So, and it's not just for someone with mental illness. Do understand that they also provide resources for people that are caregiving for someone with a mental illness. That alone itself can be very daunting on the mind, and there's resources for that, and can help families that have someone in there or loved one in their family that may be having some type of related type of illness that has to do with their mental state or whatnot. So again, NAMI.org. All right. That was our cause for cleats. And if you're just joining us, welcome to the chat. Make sure you hit like and subscribe, turn on notification bell as we always do. So what are we going to talk about, right? I know what everyone wants to talk about. I want to chomp at the bit. I was slamming the table for this for quite some time. But before we do, I just want to make sure we get through this show. Let's, what in the world? Now, today, I don't have a lot of what in the worlds, because yesterday, it seemed like the internet was going to blow up over the news that broke out, which we'll talk about. But this was kind of an interesting one, right? So let me bring this up real quick. Today is what in the world, and it's just kind of crazy, but interesting at the same time. The NFLPA has terminated its trading card agreement with Panini, effective immediately. Fanatics now holds exclusive rights to produce NFLPA branding trading cards. So no longer will Panini be able to manufacture NFLPA approved trading cards. And Fanatics will now have the rights to that. Wow, that changes the game a lot for you professional, football card collectors and whatnot. And at the same time, will the quality be just as good with Fanatics? That's a big question. That's what a question I have. Why did they have to do this? But if you keep looking, it says that NFL Players Incorporated has terminated its trading agreement with Panini, effective immediately. Fanatics has the exclusive rights to make NFLPA trading cards. The decision has no impact on any individual player contractual agreements with Panini. If you represent any players with an existing Panini agreements, the NFLPA recommends that you encourage them to fulfill their contractual agreements. So basically, if I'm an individual player that has a individual contract with the with Panini, they're telling me to go ahead and fulfill the contract. Okay, and then anybody else that's not, they basically they're basically going to fall under this Fanatics new trading card program. So that's kind of interesting. I know I collect football cards. I used to do it for like the longest period, but I kind of got out of the game for several years, and now I'm back into it. I wonder what this is going to do to those valuable cards that are out there. And lo and behold, I want to give this man a good shout out. So let me take this off, and then we'll go ahead and put some good music for this man. that he deserves, as he was like a marathon man yesterday. Everybody give a shout out to Color. What is going on, Color?
What in the world took so long, man?
Yeah, it did take so long.
Good morning, Ollie.
Good morning, sir.
Sorry for the late start. I was helping Crypto debut his show yesterday that went about 15 hours too long.
Oh shoot, you guys went even longer than when I left, huh?
Just a little bit, yeah. Of course, we went beyond the recording capacity, so yeah, if y'all missed the show last night, you missed a whole bunch of stuff you're never going to hear again because it didn't get recorded.
Yeah, you guys talked about everything. I thought the conversation about special teams was really cool. I never really thought about it or really, deep dived into it that much.
Yeah.
That was really cool conversation. We talked about some of the topics we're going to be talking about today, as well as even went off to pop culture and video games for a little bit there. And it was kind of interesting. It had a little bit of everything, something for everybody, man. So it was pretty dope, definitely. So Color, I already did I did my cause for cleats, which was NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Illness. I thought it's a great program. It's the one type of thing that doesn't discriminate against anyone. It can affect anyone everywhere, no matter your situation, color, race, does not matter, right? And NAMI, it provides a lot of different resources and everything. So that was my cause for cleats, just so you're aware. But I didn't get to do my coffee and with you. I reviewed mine. I'm drinking Publix again. Do you have a new one, or still 8 o'clock, or do you have a different one that you're drinking today?
I think I have 1 cup of 8 o'clock left, and then I'm back on to Tim Hortons for a box.
Tim Hortons, interesting. All right, I gotta try this Tim Hortons. Have you had Krispy Kreme coffee?
Not yet. I have had it from their store in Missouri, but I've never had it.
Yeah, but I've never had the Keurig cup. That's what I was asking. How is it? So if you haven't had it, then I will maybe see if I can procure that, and I'll give you one, or I'll split the box with you so you can see if you like it or not.
Right on.
Yeah, so let's keep it moving. So the what in the world that I was just talking about, did you hear that the NFLPA, effective immediately, canceled their partnership with Panini?
Yeah.
Right? So Panini no longer will be able to make trading cards for the NFL. That's my understanding. They say if you have individual contracts, they're telling players to still go ahead and meet your contractual agreements or whatever. So I guess that's whatever handful of players that is. They're going to probably have a pact that's just dedicated to them at this point. And you guess who has the new rights to the trading card program?
Starter.
Fanatics.
Oh, really? Trading cards, huh?
Yeah, so that kind of threw me off, right? I'm like, Fanatics, really? So this is going to be an adjustment period. But let me ask you, Color, do you think, because this is my perspective, since they're no longer going to be manufacturing the cards, what happens to the value of the cards that you already have that are based on Panini? I assume because they're no longer being made, the value is going to go up, right?
Eventually, yeah. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. So if you have Panini football cards, you might want to make sure you keep them nice and safe somewhere, because you never know. Those are probably, because they're going to become rare because they're no longer being made. Yeah. The value could go up. So I thought that was interesting. That's the one what in the world
interesting.
That really came out. The other what in the world is really not a what in the world, but it's what blew up the internet last night, Color, and the communities, so to speak. And it wasn't just us that was talking about it. It was everybody. Colts fans, you had fans from other fan bases, you had Jets people talking about it. In fact, I stumbled upon a Jets space. There were mostly Jets fans in there, and they were even talking about it and how it concerned them. You know what I mean? Yeah. So let's actually get into this.
I mean, Look, Joe Shad was watching the show last night, so I mean, why not?
Yeah, definitely. Joe, that's right. Joe Shad watched Crypto's first ever show, and even what was the comment he made? It was some reference to it. What were you guys?
Yeah,
talking
it
about?
was something we brought up out of the blue. Right, out of the blue, we just started talking about historical, Jason Sanders' place amongst historic Miami Dolphins kickers. And I happened to bring up this website that showed just our ranks and kickers over the years. And we found out that Jason Sanders happens to have the highest field goal percentage of any Dolphin kicker in history. Career percentage. And he has the highest single game or single season percentage, right? For 2020. And we just pulled that up out of the blue. It was just, the conversation was flowing along and it led to that, right? About 4 or 5 hours later, we see a tweet from Joe Shad talking about how Sanders is the most accurate kicker in Dolphins history. I swear to God, not 4 or 5 hours later, he out of the blue, he tweets that stuff. Like it was just a random topic that came out of the blue on our show. It wasn't like he already wrote the article and we were talking about it. No, we just started talking about it out of the blue. Next thing you know, he's tweeting an article about it. I mean, that's further evidence that these people watch our show, man. So Joe Shad's up in my neck of the woods. He writes for the Palm Beach Post. Appreciate you, Joe. Man, just come by and say hi, man. You and we can have some lunch, talk some football, and trade some wares, and you can get me some inside access, and I can wash your car or something.
Yeah. So it's really that's really interesting. Yeah, and it Joe Shad, shout out to him, but it is kind of funny how you see prominent people in the media. You can tell when they're watching your show when you're the only one that's talking about something and they bring it up out of the blue. That's
right. I mean, there wasn't even a Jason Sanders conversation anywhere going on yesterday. That's what was odd about it. Like out of the blue, we were talking about it, and then he mentions it in a tweet. You're like, okay.
The only thing I think kickers that really the only thing that I think that may have come up in the news is that the Bucks released former Colts kicker Blankenship. That was the only
I don't
thing
see
that happened.
Sparking the Sanders conversation.
No, not at all. If anything, it would bring up a conversation about the Buccaneers kickers. If anything,
he may have been listening to Crypto's overall performance and show as far as the topic, how important are special teams. Then heard us chopping it up about Sanders and was like, these guys are onto something. And he looked and he's like, Guller's right. He was the highest, most accurate kicker we've had yet.
Yeah, definitely.
Probably surprised him too, because I didn't even realize Sanders was the highest we've had.
Yeah, definitely. All right, Colin, let's keep it moving because I have a hard stop right at 8 a.m. Right at 8 a.m.
Right
I have to today of all days. So let's talk about this crazy, massive nuclear bomb that went off in the community last night, right? And if you don't know, here it is. Per Ian Rappaport's sources, the Colts have given star running back Jonathan Taylor permission to seek a trade, and conversations to find potential landing spots are ongoing. Several GMs and talent evaluators were informed earlier today that Taylor is available. Interesting. And if you didn't see that, let's go to the next thing. Tom Pelissero. The Panthers got 4 draft picks last October for Christian McCaffrey, including a second rounder. The Colts would want more to part with Jonathan Taylor. And that's just one reason it's tough to find a trade partner. Though all it takes is one. This is true. All it does is take one trade partner, unless you're doing some type of 3-way trade. And then Adam Schefter had previously reported Colts had given all-pro running back Taylor permission to seek a trade per league sources. Other teams were weighing whether to make an offer to the Colts, and what would be fair value. So all of this is going on. All this is blowing up throughout the night last night. And it didn't stop with the main media, as I just pointed out. It blew up with the beat writers, with Barry Jackson and other people making comments. And then you have prominent Twitter chat or Twitter what do they call that, accounts that provide rumors or different things. You had people like NFLrumors.com. You had NFL memes talking about it. You had every fan base talking about it. Even beat reporters or people that are in the know in the Colts area were even commenting about it, right? So it took over Spaces, it took over many conversations. They were even talking about it on NFL Network last night, right? So what's all the buzz? Jonathan Taylor, who, if you didn't know...
You mean they were actually talking about football on NFL Network?
Yeah, they actually were talking about football. So Jonathan Taylor is a running back for the Indianapolis Colts. And he... Let me just pull this up real quick, Color. Why does it have to do this to me? That's not what I wanted. There we go. He's 24 years of age, and he's available for a trade at this point. Now, does that mean the Colts are actually going to make a trade take the trade? No, not necessarily. This might be just a ploy kind of similar to the Baltimore Ravens did with Lamar Jackson. Go find the best deal that you can get and then come back to us and we'll talk, right? There's been a lot of muddy waters between ownership and the front office and Jonathan Taylor. Everything from their owner making some comments that if Jonathan Taylor wasn't in the league anymore, nobody would care or miss him. I don't think that sounds like somebody that, I don't think that's something your owner should say if you want to keep somebody, if you know what I mean. You know what I'm saying, Color? I don't think that's something you would say to somebody you really want to keep.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, it may be true, but they shouldn't have said it.
True, but yeah, but I mean, like if you're trying to keep him or force him to stay, but at your cost, not hit the player's cost. You understand what I'm saying? That's not something you do. You want to kind of like in a negotiation tactic is become friends with the other person, relate, build a rapport, a friendship that he can trust you. You know what I'm saying? And that's something that I think that there's an issue between this ownership and whatnot. Now, so I've heard some arguments that, well, that owner, he says abrasive things, but he doesn't mean it. Players love him and whatever. That may be true. Players may love him, but that doesn't mean that Jonathan Taylor has to love him. You know what I mean? So there's a lot to be had here. Now, why do we want Jonathan Taylor? Well, he's super young. He's only 24 years of age. And in 3 seasons, he has put out prominent stats, Color. The stats don't lie, right? Everything from his rookie season, where he put in about 1,169 rushing yards, 11 touchdowns, Color, right? And that was just in his rookie season. He backs it up his sophomore year with 1,811 yards and 18 touchdowns, right? Now, last year was kind of an off year. He's playing, with one of the worst offensive lines, a quarterback that really shouldn't have been there, to be honest. And he only played 11 games last season and still had 861 yards. He was on pace to, definitely go over 1,000, no problem. You know what I'm saying? So 3 consistent seasons. Now, if you're asking about certain knocks, I've been told, which was his pass catching ability. Well, his rookie season, his catch percentage was 92.3%, Color. 92.3%.
I love how people just throw numbers out. Like you're arguing with somebody, right? And they're just like, well, the sky's blue. Well, the water's green. Well, space is black. I mean, it's like, do they even think it like they even look? You know what I mean? Like, why bother even arguing with people? They're just gonna be like, They're going to run through the whole gambit. Well, he can't catch the ball. Well, he can't do this. Well, he can. You'll just shoot. You'll just knock down every one of them. And they'll just keep adding more, like as if any of this is a reality. You know what I mean? Like, the guy can catch the ball. Okay.
So, yeah, he can definitely catch the ball. I've seen it. And the last 2 seasons, it wasn't quite 92.3%, but his sophomore season, he had a 78.4% catch percentage. And then his last season, he put up 70% catch percentage. But then again, he did take a lot less.
Guess what? All 3 of those in comparison to Waddle, higher, and higher.
Yeah, his average is 80%. So 80% of the time, he's catching the ball according to the career stats that he's put up. That also being said, Color, what's the one thing that we claim that McDaniel's offense produces and that needs players that have this one ability when it comes to catching? Yak, right? We talked about being a yak machine. Players that we bring in create yak. Well, let's actually talk about those yak, right? So he put up his yak yards, and I'll go by season because this is kind of interesting. So yards after catch, his first season, he had 367 yards after catch. He averaged 10.2 yards after catch per reception his rookie season. Sophomore year, exact same number, 10.2 yards after catch per reception. Even his last year, which was an off year, it wasn't too bad. 7.3 yards after catch per reception, Color. The guy can put up yak, right? And that being said, this offense is designed for that. And if you're wondering, well, how many yards did he have before he caught the ball? Yards before catch per reception is in the negatives. He's catching the ball 2 yards behind the line each time before he gets into positive yak. That's exactly kind of how we've been wanting to throw, behind the line to our running backs and have them take off. I saw how many passes to Chase Edmonds last year, that same type of way, but it wasn't working out.
Well, that's precisely how you use a running back in the West Coast.
Yeah. So that being said, this guy we can really benefit off this guy. Now, why do we want him? Well, first of all, as I've been arguing all whole week and I've been slamming the table, and I said I was going to keep talking about it till it became existent, and look where we're at now, Color, right? I was going to speak it into existence, and look where we're at. This offensive scheme is very grueling on running backs. 49ers is the prime example. Our offense is a variation of theirs, or is very similar, I should say. And look over the past several years, they've gone through running back after running back because of injuries and whatnot that they get, right?
Right.
Even Raheem Mostert, he was really good in the beginning, injured, right? What's their other running back? Mitchell, I think his name is.
Wow.
Really great in the beginning. Fantasy output.
Hold on. Jeff Wilson followed Mostert up. Mitchell came after Wilson.
Yeah, but both of them, Jeff Wilson, Mitchell, injuries. They finally got it consistent enough where there wasn't very much injuries last season, but that's because they made the Christian McCaffrey trade, right? They finally went and got their big fish, and that's what I think we need. We need to go get our big fish to add to this room. I'm not taking anything away from Raheem Mostert or Devon A-Chain at all. Jeff Wilson, we haven't seen him very much this preseason at all, Color. He hasn't flashed like he did previously. In addition to that, he's been kind of dormant
and hurt
or injured. I've heard there's, and this room's already getting hit with injuries. Devon A-Chain already has a shoulder injury, right? Jeff Wilson, I heard, has a knock, and that's why he hasn't played a little bit. And they've been kind of easing him in a little bit. Even Raheem Mostert, there was a day, I want to say it was like the first or second week of training camp, and he even took a knock, and they pulled him out for like a day or two, and then they brought him back, right? You're already getting a room full of injuries. You're going to need to address it. And why not go get the big fish? It's not going to cost you as much as you think. Now, I've heard from different people what they think. I was saying first round pick and maybe a player or two, right? Or some kind of combination of that. And why do I want to give first round pick? Well, really, because if our goals are really to be Super Bowl winners or in the Super Bowl or even in the AFC Championship game, we'll just give you that. Our pick is what? Number 28?
32nd. What are you
30,
talking about?
32nd. You know what I mean? That I'm just giving the different numbers here. That's the number of our draft pick. And what is that? A glorified second round draft pick at that point. You know, I'm just being honest. It's not like you're losing out on a future Hall of Famer with that. To be honest.
Which is right about where Taylor was drafted. 41st overall.
Yeah, 41st overall. So it's pretty much you're getting exactly what he got drafted for. I would definitely, I would give up the first round and then maybe a Jeff Wilson or a Cedric Wilson, depending on what they need. Now, I heard that even though their wide receiver went down, it wasn't one of their starters, and they don't feel like their fan base don't feel like they need wide receivers. I disagree, because if you look at the names, who are these people? And I've looked at the stats. Their stats are not wowing. Let's just put it that way. So I think they need help at wide receiver, just my opinion. There's even talks of them needing a corner, possibly. I wonder who we could send on the corner. I'm not going to send Ramsey, obviously. I'm not going to send Cam Smith. I'm not going to send X, technically. Yet, at least. Yeah, that is a possibility, but I would say yet. What about, I know I'm going to wake up Shake Money saying this. What about sending a Noah? What do you think of that color?
Noah.
No on Noah?
I mean, the fact that, most Miami fans would probably go to him first if you were to ask that question. Tells you that I think Indy probably knows what he is too. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, we got to remember that, everybody has an opinion on all of our players already. So no matter what we see them as or what their value is, the others in the league may not see the same thing. Or at the same time, maybe they're Noah fans,
So,
I mean, they could very well love him. They could be chomping at the bit to get a guy like him, for all we know, because they may not, they only see him from afar.
Dolphins Thirsty is asking what I would give up. I've already stated this first round pick. If our goal is to be in that AFC Championship game, right? We're not going to have nothing more than the 28th pick in the NFL draft. At that point, it's almost a second rounder. Yeah. I would definitely consider giving that up. In addition, I would send a player or two over there. Maybe a later on pick, like a fifth or something like that, if we have one. I don't know if we do, but...
and let's be real there, if we throw in a 2025 first round pick or thereabouts, that gives them a great shot. That gives them a great shot to bring in, one of their alumni's sons into the building, Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah, but the consensus is that it's not going to cost that much, though. That's what all the evaluators, all the people that
I understand that, but if they're trying to, if both sides are trying to see what really they can get, then
I ain't giving up a 2025 first round pick.
But somebody
maybe additional picks from 2025, but not a first round.
But somebody will, is what I'm saying.
From my understanding, most teams, and this is what I've read from people that are more in the know than others. From what I've read, there's a big belief in the league that it could be more like 2 seconds that you may get.
Right. I'm just saying that if nobody has said anything to said sources, then they don't know. what anybody
Shake
thinks
Money
about what they
is
would give.
awake. He already heard me mention Noah. Yes. What's up, Shake? How you doing?
Like if 15 teams haven't said anything, then how would anybody
Mm-hmm.
know what those 15 teams feel about Jonathan
It's
Taylor?
true. It's all speculation, Color. It's
No,
I'm just saying
what
that
I'm saying precisely the opposite. There's no speculation to be had because there is if nobody has said anything, then how can there be any in the know?
I was referencing like they're connected, so they hear things. Is basically what I was.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. If 15 teams did not say one word, then what could they have heard? There's a team out there that hasn't said anything to anybody. That's like, what would we give for him? And they're thinking in their head, I might give this or that. Those guys can't read minds. You see what I'm saying? The guys with the sources can't read minds.
I hear what you're saying. I just don't.
It has to have been said for somebody to know about it. You see what I'm saying?
I understand. I hear what you're saying. What I'm saying is that I don't believe, based on everything I read, I don't think the value is going to cause for a 2025 first round and a 2025.
Well, I mean, I see what you're saying there. If some insiders who have been in this, right? If there's insiders that have been in this game long enough to know what he's going to garner, then that's different. That's still an opinion, though.
Now, I do believe that they are there has been a report that they are looking for something similar to the McCaffrey deal, which was multiple picks.
Right, which is overpaying and precisely what a guy like Irsay would ask for.
Yeah, but that was Christian McCaffrey, though. I mean, he's arguably, the second best running back in this league?
He was also arguably more injury risk.
That's true.
He'd already been injured like twice by the time they were talking to him, dude. That wasn't Christian McCaffrey's first go around of being out long like that, bro.
I understand.
I don't know. I mean, I get what you're saying. I just think that if somebody gets some glossy eyes, that's all it takes is one team, one general manager to get
the Christian McCaffrey deal. But here, Color, listen to this, right? The Christian McCaffrey deal to the San Francisco 49ers for the 2023 the 49ers gave up a 2023 second, third, and fourth round pick for 2024 for fifth round pick and Christian McCaffrey. So essentially they didn't give up a first round at all. That's why I think that's why they're speculating that this isn't going to ask for a first round.
Right.
But it could ask for multiple picks, and we do have a second round pick. I just think giving up the first round kind of makes up for the picks we don't have, which I believe it's either a third or a fourth we don't have next year.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Oh, sure.
So that's kind of why I was insinuating that. Now, Miami, let me look at Miami's draft picks because I'm curious now what we have.
I mean, to be quite honest with you, none of those picks are going to matter if we don't perform this year.
That's true.
The bottom line, if people are out there wanting to, not that you are or anything, but people are wanting to collect picks and hold on to them and value them like they're gold. NFL draft picks are the least valuable trade piece, unless you're talking about a high first round pick. I don't know why people want to hold on to them so much. If you're talking about a team that is constantly rebuilding and can't get it right, then yeah, keep stockpiling picks. But you're talking about a team that's built. We're ready to go. We're all at the train station going, everybody, come on. We're waiting for Greer to come on. And he's over here going, hold on, let me grab these picks before we go. No, give him to the dang train station guy. Get a better seat and let's go. What are you going to do with picks when the train is off the rails? What are you going to do with them then?
So I just verified we are without a fourth and a third pick because of one we lost in the tampering issue. that we had.
Right.
And the other one we lost in the Chubb deal.
And here's the thing, Ollie. I'm not arguing against people that say, oh, well, you could hit in the draft. And I'm not arguing against people that say, oh, you hardly ever hit in the draft. I'm not arguing with that point. What I'm saying is, even if we hit on somebody in the draft, how many years before he's a starter? First round draft picks aren't even day ones anymore.
They should be, but they're not.
They should be, but everybody is finally, because of because of other things going on in the world. No, that's not. We don't hold ourselves to any kind of standards like that anymore, Ali. We got a 5th overall pick. We're still waiting to exhale at year 4. 5th overall. This gets back to Tua all the time, and this is why. Because we're talking about picks. Okay, fine. Let's say every draft pick you pick works out. You're still not getting results until 3 or 4 years. We're ready to go now. We just gave somebody $30 million to make sure we're ready to go now.
Mm-hmm.
And if we don't go now, we don't succeed now, we're blowing it up anyway. In which case, we got plenty of picks coming, people.
Yeah, because at that point, you'd be doing the same thing we did back in 2019. Look, the reality is this.
At this point, for our situation, a draft pick means time. That's what it means. We don't have time.
Yeah, we don't have time. And then in addition to that, with draft picks, if you're just continually relying on that, you're continuously rebuilding. That's kind of where I'm at with it.
They think one day somebody's going to call us up and give us Michael Jordan for our draft picks or something.
What's up, Shake Money? Good morning. Shake, you're on mute, I think. All right, Shake, I can't hear you.
He's been having a few difficulties on the technical end, popping in. He'll get it fixed here in a second.
Okay, all right. But no, I hear what you're saying, man. What's the point of? I can hear you now. What's up, Shake?
Hey, no. When Bill Belichick to stockpile picks, it was back in the dynasty days. Stockpile picks was for more. There was a good player coming up. Get rid of his draft picks to get if he could.
So what you're saying is that the only reason that back in was stockpiling picks was so he could make trades for certain players that they absolutely wanted at that point, right?
Yeah, that or players that on my team. Yeah, I'll give you a late pick for that guy.
Right, right. So it sounds like what you're saying, Shake, is Belichick used to stockpile picks precisely for when a guy comes around, okay, that is already acclimated to the league. You don't have to spend that 1 or 2 seasons getting him up to speed, okay? He's already a star power, okay? And all you have to do is give up a couple draft picks to get this guy out of the gate. Let me ask you this. If Jonathan Taylor was available in this upcoming draft, and you already knew he was a day one starter and already knew he was a star, what would you do to trade up in that draft to get him?
Yeah,
that's how you have to look at these draft picks.
Oh, yeah.
The guy is already a day one starter if he was entering the draft this year.
Mm-hmm.
He's already a star. That's out of the gate. No acclimation. No getting him ready to be an NFL player. No HR paperwork. None of it. All done already for you. And all you have to do is give up some draft picks.
I want to further illustrate your point, Color. Last year, at where we were going to pick, right? Can you name an edge player You know what? I'll look up Wednesday when I do my smoke lounge. I'm gonna put up all the edge players that were available at the place we were supposed to pick, because we're gonna pick at 30 because San Francisco was up there. So we were gonna pick at 30, right? The San Francisco pick.
Right.
I'm gonna list the players of the edge players that are available, and you tell me if those players were better than Chubb. Those edge players that we would have drafted last year instead of getting Chubb would have been better than Chubb already now.
Exactly. What wide receiver were we going to draft for the whatever picks we gave up for him? If we did, I don't remember if we did, but what wide receiver were we going to draft better than Tyreek Hill?
Yeah, this is true. In addition to that, Color, just looking at it at this point, Jonathan Taylor is only 24 years old, right?
That's my point.
He has not even hit his peak prime yet, right? He has at least the next 5 or more years to play in this league, right? And even before he starts dipping, this is a move. Listen, people, I'm going to be straight up with you guys, right? This is a move that not only fixes your room, and I would say is a power move, right? This is a move that extends your window. This is a move that Grier has to make if he wants to extend the window beyond this year and next year.
And now guess what you have time for? All those other picks you want to stockpile. You got time to do something with them. Wow, look at that.
100%. Top of the morning to you, CB83. And if you're just joining the chat, welcome. Welcome as NFL Lit. Mr. Pauks here, Adam Sadowski, Cruz Ruiz,
Cat for Life,
Sackman 56. Yep. Yeah, everybody. I see you all. Thank you for coming and joining us. But in New Finsland, what's up, buddy? How you doing? But that's the thing. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to. I wanted to add one thing, and this is speaking to. I know there's guys out there, in our audience, in our community, that just don't believe in Tua whatsoever and never will. I get that. I'm not speaking to those people right now. I'm speaking to the people that either understand that Tua has gotten better, has some potential, and the staunch Tuaneers, the guys that are like, no, Tua is the guy. I'm speaking to those people right now. Okay? If Tua was entering the draft next year and we knew that he was going to be at the level he's at right now, would you rather give a 5th overall pick for that or a 5th overall pick 4 years ago for Tua? Which one? I'm taking this Tua. I don't know about y'all. I'm drafting this Tua with that 5th overall pick.
Yeah.
Because he's ready. He's at where we wanted him to be when we drafted him 5th overall.
I understand. So you're saying
the work's been done. You know what I mean?
So this goes into your point on what players are you going to be able to get that's ready like that.
Exactly.
Yeah, I definitely
for a team like us that's in a window now. You know what I mean?
You're not going to find a running back that's even ready yet in that sense, even with that pick at that point. And I've looked at the running backs next year, and there's not that many, I should say.
When Color and CB83 are in agreement, I mean, you know what I mean? Do the deal, Grier.
Yeah, good. I'm telling you right now, if Grier doesn't get this done and he had the chance, if we find out he goes to another team for something less than a 1st-round pick and then some, I'm going to tell you right now, it's a fail on Grier, and then I will be on Grier's ass to start packing your bags because it's a huge fail.
Right. Well,
chance.
Hey, by the way,
hold on. Let me just land real quick, please. You had the perfect chance to extend your window beyond Tyreek Hill, right? And you're mortgaging like your whole future on not making this deal. I think that's messed up, bro.
Right.
You have to make this deal.
Right. And CB83 says hindsight is always 20/20 though, and I agree. That's my point, CB83. We have the hindsight right now on Jonathan Taylor. Just like we have the hindsight now on Tua, so you know which Tua you would take.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
we have the hindsight, you know.
And by the way, I was listening to his replay last night, and he's with he agrees that we should trade. He'll give up Christian Wilkins to get Jonathan Taylor. And I tell you what, he wear CBA 3. He wants to wear the ribbon, so he's wearing the ribbon right now.
Oh, cool.
So I kind of mentioned this last night.
CBA 83, that ribbon, it definitely looks good on you, bro.
The ribbon. So I talked about this last night, and according to this Colts person that I guess is a analyst for Colts Nation or whatever it is, I forget what he said. But they're looking for depth pieces on the offensive line. And I kind of jokingly said this, and there's some people that kind of took me too seriously about Eichenberg.
Oh, did the Colts fans already start to yell, "Bring him home"?
No. I was joking about it, but I got some flack about it on Twitter already, and I was really just kind of kidding, and I was just spitballing stuff. I even mentioned after I said Eichenberg, I was like, well, if we don't feel confident with Austin Jackson, go ahead and maybe consider sending him. I would do it. We have some players that we could put over there to hold it down for right now. And that you could even bring in Dalton Risner, for example, and then move Isaiah Wynn to right tackle, because that was a position that I've heard that he could play as well. If that's the case, then you could do that, right? Well, the only reason I brought up Eichenberg was because, one, he went to Notre Dame, which is right next door to Indianapolis, so they're probably very familiar with him. And actually, if memory serves me right, if going back to that draft that he was drafted in, the Colts were a team that was strongly considering drafting him at the time.
Right.
There is already interest. So I wasn't really off base for saying we would send him Eichenberg. Now, here's the reality of it, people. Eichenberg may not have worked out here. That doesn't mean he won't work out there.
I'm so glad you're saying that, because that's going to lead into my point. Go ahead.
What was his name? I can't remember the guy's name, but there was a offensive lineman, tackle, I believe, that we drafted out of Ohio State. And I want to say we got him in the 6th or 7th round of that draft, right? We ended up cutting him, after training camp for whatever reason. And guess who he signed with? And actually, I believe he played in the Super Bowl color. The Cincinnati Bengals.
Oh, so Isaiah Prince, is that who that was?
No, Isaiah Prince.
Not Isaiah Prince. Hold on. I can't remember his name, but he was an Ohio State offensive lineman. He ended up being shitty for us, at least being a starter, for Cincinnati.
For his hometown team, for his home state team. Right.
Yeah, so I'm kind of like, just because it doesn't work here doesn't mean it's not going to work there.
Well, to your point, Ollie, number one, right? Number one, I always like to bring the human aspect. Mm-hmm. If he is from Indiana, probably can't stand playing down here in the heat. Okay, and if you're telling me that the Colts wanted to draft him or were looking at him, that's likely means they were talking to him as well and making him feel like they were going to draft him. Mm-hmm. And when they did it, and Miami did, he may have just never been happy here. He could go back home, like up there, and maybe that was where he was always meant to play football, to Ali's point. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's the other thing. Eichenberg is actually from Ohio. He's from Cleveland, Ohio. But
right.
You see how close that is?
Went to college in Indiana. Right.
Yeah, it's still within his, as I would like to say, his stomping grounds. Ohio, the Ohio, Michigan, Indiana area was my
well, that's probably why he went to Indiana, because it's nearby.
Notre Dame, yeah. Most people from Ohio that come from prominent Catholic families, they go to Notre Dame.
Right. If that's the biggest school that gave him an offer, closest to him, that's the one.
Oh yeah. So that's kind of why.
Let's not forget the guy played for Notre Dame. He's not that much of a. There's got to be something else going on, like Ali's suggesting. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I'm not going to say that he's out of the picture in this because he hasn't worked out here. What I will tell you that that might be somebody they might have interest in addition to our draft picks. You know,
could
what I'm
also
saying?
be why he's been on the exercise bike for the past few days.
That is true. That is another speculation. That's absolutely true. So
we all got our tropes because we don't like the guy, but we don't know what we're actually doing with people. I made this point about Waddle, but I'm not going to get into that discussion. we don't need to give up Waddle to get Taylor, so I'm off of that right now. You know.
Yeah. So I mean, that's
before anybody starts putting it on me all day. I'll be the one guy today, Ollie, they'll unify against. That color wanting to trade Waddle. You know, I'll be the one. I'll be the target.
CB83, I am right there with you on this. What he's saying, if Greer pulls off this trade, I don't want to hear anything about his incompetence as a GM. His responsibility is to build 100. A championship roster. He can't get there and coach them too. 100%.
And you know why? It's because of moves like this that he doesn't do and he hasn't done is why we're pissed at him. So yeah, absolutely. CB83, he does something like this, man.
See, the fan base is too reactionary in a sense. You know, we honestly let our
that's our main job, Ollie.
People can read us very easily because we put all of our emotions on our sleeves, right? Mm-hmm. And that's the thing. Like we're 0 to 60 instantly just because things didn't work out in one instance. But we forget all the other times that it has worked out. You know, he's the guy that did trade Tunzel when we needed to, and Mika Fitzpatrick, and those were the trades that keeps on giving and giving and giving, right? So, but we don't give him enough credit for it. In addition, there are players that we have hit on. You know what I mean? We have hit on Javon Holland. We have hit on other players that have been drafted. Rob Hunt, for example.
Well, I'm also noticing a pattern, Ali.
Mm-hmm.
Ever since we got Tua, even because it really doesn't coincide with Flores leaving the building, although it could. Like the last couple seasons, Greer's made 1 or 2 splash moves, like one on defense, one on offense. You know, I mean, look, we drafted Tua. What did we do in free agency the year we drafted Tua? Nothing big, right? Well, we did the Tunzel deal, did we not? Or right before that? We had just done the Tunzel deal, right?
The 2019, I believe, was the year.
Right, and that was basically a splash to get to it, if you think about it. You know, like to be in position, we're tanking. Okay, put that aside. 2020, nothing. Okay, 2021, what did we do?
We had a 10-game. We won 10 games.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, Flores gets fired, right? We got rid of
Mika. I don't think we won 10 games. I think we went 9 and
8. Right.
9 and 8. Yeah.
Do you remember any free agency moves that before that year?
The 2021, we brought in, who was it? Byron Jones.
Jones from Dallas, right? That could be considered splash for the time at that time.
What was it? Shaq Lawson? Was that who it was that we had?
Right.
Who was it? I can't remember. We got him, and we got the linebacker from the Patriots.
Kyle Van Noy?
Yeah, who we had for a year.
Okay, so those aren't 2 huge splashes, but still, you go into last off season, and we get Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
Okay, we make a huge splash there, something we haven't done in a long time, made the fans all happy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And middle of the season, we make what some consider to be a splash and a lot of people don't because they don't really understand and know the guy at the time we had gotten him. Mm-hmm. But Chubb is a splash move on defense. Mm-hmm. Okay, we gave up some assets to get him. It wasn't an easy deal, okay? So you did a splash move on offense and defense. Tyreek Hill, Bradley Chubb. Now this year, so since we started our quote-unquote window of opportunity, we've made a splash move on offense, splash move on defense. Now you get to this offseason, we've already made a splash move on defense. Jalen Ramsey.
Mm-hmm.
Is the splash move on offense going to follow? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, to be kind of honest, it seems like every 2 years, based on what we've seen since 2019, it's like every 2 years we splash.
Well,
So
think about it though, Ali. Last year
Hmm.
we splashed with a wide receiver and a pass rusher.
Mm-hmm.
This year we've already splashed with a corner. What do we need on offense to make a splash with? Running back. We don't need another wide receiver. We don't need a quarterback. What do we need to make a splash with on offense? Some would say the offensive line, but obviously, that they don't agree. I'm talking about positional player, like ball handlers. You know what I mean? It's running back, bro. We're making this move. I really think we're making this move. Last night, I was totally like, no, we're going to sit on our hands. I don't believe in this organization, blah, blah, blah. But I think we're going to make this move. I really do.
I kind of think
this is the move to make. This is the move to make.
This is a little bit different than the Dalvin move. And shout out to anybody that's just joining us. I see you, Heather. How's it going? Make sure you hit like and subscribe. And then
Jonathan Taylor is a quote unquote Tyreek caliber player at running back. I don't know how else to put it. You know what I mean?
The Patriot says, seems like splashes are preceded but chance to fire Greer. So if you yell to fire Greer again, you might get JT.
Yeah, I know, right? No, but I mean, for real, JT is at the caliber of player at his position that Tyreek is at his.
Yeah.
Let's be real. At least Waddle. You know what I mean?
I want to say, like, this feels a little bit different than the Dalvin Cook move, because what feels different primarily is, one, the Dalvin Cook move was being talked about in certain avenues, right? It was talked about among the fan base primarily, and then one or two different beat writers or someone in the media would bring it up, and they would just talk about it that one instance, and it would get replayed over and over again. But last night, when it had to do with JT, everybody and their mother in the woodwork came out talking about it.
Right.
So that's why I think there's more legs to this than there was with the Dalvin Cook move. It seemed like the Dalvin Cook move was being...
Would you rather have Deebo Samuel right now or Justin Jefferson?
Ooh, that's a good question, Color, because both of them, which obviously Justin Jefferson is pretty much the number two receiver or number one receiver, depending on what ranking you're looking at, versus Tyreek Hill in the league. But
Deebo Samuel didn't even qualify for my production list.
I hear you.
Now we know he's good. That's why I brought him up, because.
But let me explain why.
To me, he's like, well, real quick, so you understand my premise. To me, he's more like your Dalvin Cook, whereas Justin Jefferson is more like your Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, I can kind of see what you're saying about that. I was looking at it in a schematic way and how you could use a Deebo Samuel, because he actually plays in the same system we're already playing.
Well, I mean, as pure wide receiver, like just as pure wide receiver.
As a pure wide receiver, I'm going to go with probably Justin Jefferson.
But nobody's going to say that Deebo ain't a great wide receiver. You see what I'm saying? Same with Dalvin Cook. Nobody's going to argue Dalvin Cook ain't a star running back. But Jonathan Taylor is 24 with rookie control still on his contract. That is precisely the type of move Greer makes. He likes to have control on his players. Do we not agree with that? Not you, Ali, but I mean in general, isn't that the consensus that Chris Greer likes to be in control?
Yeah,
which is why we don't do certain moves we could have done, because it would have made us vulnerable.
Basically, one thing you can count on Chris Greer is doing. He refuses to put us in contracts that hurt the franchise in the long run.
Right,
and a contract. If you look at, and I apologize, Color, I just want to get this off.
No problem.
If you look at the contracts that he's signed since 2019 and forward, right, all of them after year 2 have had an out. It's 2 or 3 years, and then you have an out. 2 or 3 years, then you have an out. There is no, there's no out of this contract or anything like that. And it also comes down to how much does Ross want to invest in this specific person. I can tell you right now, if I'm Ross and you're getting a premier arguably a top 3 running back, in a very young age, and you're going to have him for the next 5 years, let's just say, put that out there. I'm willing to take money out of my own pocket to put up rather than having it come out of the cap space. You know what I mean? So he would make the money work, and that's something he'll invest in. I honestly think he will, if we can get this deal to be made with the Colts, because that's what has to come down first. We can sit here till we're blue in the face, but they have to make the deal with the Colts first.
Yep.
So,
and I mean, if you're talking about vulnerability when it comes to contracts, you're about the least vulnerable you can be is having a rookie control on a player.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's true.
In every single aspect you look at it, Ali, this is the move for us to make, bro. If we don't do it, then everything everybody says about us is true, bro.
Yeah. I honestly think Greer has to make this move. He has to.
I wouldn't even care if the guy ever touched the ball. We have to make this move.
Yeah.
It's a matter of principle for me at this point, Ali.
I hear you.
I take the name off of it. You know what I mean? This move has to be done.
Yep, I agree, and it's kind of funny. I never thought this would even be available to us, and here we are. You know what I mean? It's pretty exciting to be honest.
By the way, you're probably not going to be able to see it, but Amun with his little old lady is about to walk. Look at him chasing them all off, bro. Look, he's like, get out of here. It's my land. I love it.
I can't see it.
Sorry. I know he can't. I know it's too small, bro, but he's straight up regulating right now, bro.
That's funny.
Freaking awesome. He's just running around too. The guy's got wings and he chooses to run around and chase them all off. It's just fun. It's great, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I agree with CBID3. I'd rather much have Jonathan Taylor here than let him go to Kansas City.
Right. Or God forbid, Buffalo. Who needs him?
Let's speculate this a little bit, though, Color. Let's speculate this, because the Colts people think that it's primarily either us or Chicago that we have to contend with, not Kansas City.
Yep.
I was thinking that it was us, the Vikings, or Dallas, to be honest. Those are the teams.
True. My first thought when I heard that, because when I heard it, Ollie, it was coupled with, they have a lot of cap space. And it occurred to me right away that that's precisely who Taylor's camp is gonna pit against Miami, is a team that can afford to pay him the bag. You see what I'm saying? I don't necessarily think Chicago is a real thought like that. They're just basically saying, look, Chicago's got money.
Yeah, they have money.
Once you're done taking care of the Colts, right? Once you're done taking care of the Colts with whatever they want, Chicago could pay me. So you better be ready to pay me too.
Yeah, they're getting ready to build a new stadium. They're building a team. That's basically what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So, for me, if I'm
a running back town, they want to put his face on the billboard, bro. You know?
Here we go. If I'm Jonathan Taylor, I can. This is how I'd pitch it. Or not. If I'm someone trying to pursue Jonathan Taylor. Hey JT, how you doing? Miami, we have very nice warm weather. There's no state taxes. There's a big market that you can advertise and market your brand solely here in Miami. That not just expands here throughout the southeastern region, but also expands internationally into South America, Europe, as Miami is an international destination. So you can expand your brand and market it worldwide versus, just in this region. So there's a lot more money and possibilities to be had. We have a young quarterback who is up and coming and playing at a very high level. We're ready to win now. We have the defense, we have Vic Fangio, and we have the offense that you will rock and roll with. And you're not necessarily going to have to put all the work in yourself and being that bell cow, because it'll allow you to at least refresh your legs every once in a while because of the room that we have. right? So it's not going to be you doing all the dirty work and all the hard work consistently. So you can prolong your career. I would be talking like that in a sense to make JT to buy into it. But what am I saying? We're Miami. Of course he wants to come here.
And as far as doing a deal right away, why couldn't that sugar money you were talking about earlier, why can't that stand in place of a contract right now? In other words, look, come to us, play on your last rookie year. Let's win a Super Bowl. You know what I mean? Ross is going to go ahead and give you what you want right now up front. Little sugar money. You know,
look,
in other words, in good faith that we're gonna negotiate after your performance this year and give you what you deserve with your first true contract. You see what I'm saying?
Listen. Beyond the trade capital that it would cost to get him, which I think it could be a first round and maybe like some other late round picks that you can maybe make this happen, right? Because I think that first round, being the fact that it's a first round pick, would be worth a little bit more to equate, kind of similar to what the McCaffrey got, for example, right? When it comes to negotiating with the player, I would offer him whatever you can. If you can offer him stock options, do it. Whatever is legal to offer this guy, or a legal way to get him the money without breaking any rules, go ahead and do it.
But here's the thing, Ollie. This goes back to my point about rookie control. Okay, we don't even have to be thinking about Jonathan Taylor right now. We have to get him first. Okay, the first mission is to deal and negotiate with the Colts to get Jonathan Taylor's contract under our freaking name in our building. Okay, once that happens, he's ours. He can hold out for us. He can do all the things that he was going to do to the Colts. We can do all the things to him the Colts were going to do to him. It's us now at the table with him. Would you rather another team be negotiating his contract, or would you rather it be us? Because we might get raked over the coals. We might not. But we don't know until he's in the building and we've got control of his contract. And that contract has one more year left on a rookie contract. If he's going to be fighting with somebody, it should be us.
That's true. In addition, not saying that we would have
focus on the Colts, get them what they need to get Jonathan Taylor in our building, and then we can deal with the damn contract and his money. But he's ours to deal with at that point. That's the rookie control. People don't understand that. Get his contract in our name first, however you got to, with the Colts. Then you can deal with Jonathan Taylor. It becomes clearer and easy to see if you're not mixing it with trade with the Colts and all these other moving parts. No, you get the deal done with the Colts. He's already under contract with the Colts. We're trading for his contract, not him.
Yeah, I definitely understand, Color. I mean, here's the reality. Miami is not going to make a trade if they don't know that Jonathan Taylor has interest in a long-term deal. You know what I mean? That it's kind of like goes hand in hand when those types of deals go off. Just like how Tyreek's did. So they weren't going to just give up everything just to end up not only having him for 1 year of rental. So I think everything's going to be fine when it comes to money. Like
with Ramsey. We gave the Rams whatever they wanted. We got Ramsey here, and we renegotiated his contract.
Yeah, we definitely. Listen, this is the reality. If a team really wants a player, it doesn't matter what the cost is; they're going to make it happen.
Exactly, it doesn't even matter what Jonathan Taylor wants out of the Miami Dolphins right now. So, in other words, Jonathan Taylor shouldn't even be on the phone with us and the Colts because it's not him to control right now. He can say, well, Miami, don't even bother trading me because I'm not going to sign any contract you offer. That's different. That means he don't want to play here. Okay, but he's not going to be like, oh, by the way, while you're trying to deal with the Colts to get my contract, make sure you know how much I want. We don't give a damn what he wants right now. We only care what the Colts need to get to trade his contract to us. Then we can deal with Jonathan Taylor.
Well, there is some sort of
and I'd just rather it be us and not the Chicago Bears or the Buffalo Bills.
Or the Kansas City Chiefs, to be honest. So that's where I'm at with it. Let's keep it moving, color, because we only have, we got 30 minutes left, right? Yeah. So I got another article we have to read. We're gonna talk about it. We can come back to the Jonathan Taylor talk because it's gonna probably take up our whole week. We'll be talking about it, yelling and screaming about it and whatnot. But I do kind of agree with Mr. Pauk here. He says if Jonathan Taylor comes, it would be Jonathan Taylor RB1, Devon A-Chain RB2, Raheem Mostert RB3, and then Chris Brooks.
Nice.
I kind of like that, to be honest. There is a situation because Alec Ingold is part of the tight end room. There is a situation that we could keep 5 running backs. There is a possibility. I doubt it, but there is a possibility. I was looking at some rosters before.
So you're saying there's a chance?
There's a chance that they could. I mean, to be honest, 100% there's a chance. I was looking at some roster combinations on when teams kept 5 running backs. It's not something you see all the time. It's very rare, but it has happened. So I just want to keep in mind that because our running back room is technically fragile in a sense, and the scheme can be very grueling, that's something to keep back in your mind. And the other thing you have to think about, will the players that we end up cutting still be able to be brought into the practice squad? Because they have to go through waivers first. You know what I'm saying? So do you think they'll still be there? That'll be a big question. So, and we can protect them for, I think you're allowed to protect, 2 every week? Something like that? Something like that, color. What's up, Miss Fans?
Yeah.
Nice to see you in here. Nice seeing you last night. And welcome to the show. All right, let's talk about this article.
Oh yeah, by the way, Miss Fins is the one that caused everything to go off the rails after we stopped recording. Just so you know. Y'all missed it. Y'all missed the after show. It was
interesting. Do you know if StreamYard still records it, or is it just YouTube that cuts it off?
The show out of YouTube Studio, we could stream for 24 hours and it would record all of it.
No. I'm talking about StreamYard. Does StreamYard still record after the limit that YouTube has?
No, that's what I'm saying. That's where the limitation is at. Is StreamYard. StreamYard only records 12 hours.
Oh, so YouTube.
So the show was still live. Yeah, the show was still live on YouTube. We just weren't recording it after 12 hours. But if you start the stream out of the YouTube Studio manually, I think.
Yeah, I'm wondering if I can go back and watch it. That's what I was asking, color. All right, so let's talk about this article by Omar Kelly that he put out. Tailback Devon A-Chain avoids severe shoulder injury, right?
About that, bro.
So, can you hear me?
Yeah, am I back? Sorry about that. I was saying that if you started it manually out of the YouTube Studio, I believe it'll record for longer than 12 hours.
I gotcha. All right, well, I'll have to check that out.
Yeah.
So tailback Devon A-Chain avoids severe shoulder injury. Dolphins rookie tailback Devon A-Chain was classified as week to week by head coach Mike McDaniel following a shoulder injury he suffered against the Texans on Saturday. The deepest position group in the Miami Dolphins on the roster is currently having its depth tested. Jeff Wilson Jr., Myles Gaskin, and fullback Alec Ingold are all held out of Miami's 28-3 preseason win over the Houston Texans on Saturday because of injuries they are nursing. And during the game, rookie tailback Devon A-Chain suffered a shoulder injury that could sideline him for a couple of weeks. Head coach Mike McDaniel said the severity of the shoulder injury wasn't significant, but that A-Chain, the Dolphins' 2023 third-round pick, will be week to week and will be rehabbing instead of practicing this week. He's good. He's avoided anything severe. As whether A-Chain's injury will impact how many tailbacks make it onto the 53-man roster. McDaniel said, I'm not really worried about it being an issue. I'm worried about how he's going to look at the end of the week and next. It's possible that Miami can place A-Chain on injured reserve the day after the 53-man roster is finalized on August 29th, and it would create an extra roster spot. However, A-Chain would be forced to miss the first 4 games of the season. Miami likely will take that approach with a number of teams' injured players like corner Jalen Ramsey, offensive guard Robert Jones, and corner Keon Crossan. Status for Wilson, Ingold, and Gaskin. The severity of the injuries to Wilson, Ingold, and Gaskins have not been clarified. Wilson suffered what appeared to be a hand injury during Miami's joint practices against Atlanta Falcons a little over a week ago and hasn't played in either of the preseason games. However, he did participate on 11-on-11 drills last week against the Texans. Ingold injury has forced a couple of Miami's tight ends to fill his H-back and fullback roles, and McDaniel said that that's allowed for a better evaluation of that position. Gaskin's injury, which he seemingly suffered while rushing for 57 yards on 7 carries in Miami's 19-3 loss, the Falcons on August 11th, hasn't been clarified, but McDaniel said Gaskin is being held out of practice sessions for precautionary reasons. If Gaskins and Wilson aren't cleared to play in Saturday's preseason final against the Jaguars, the Dolphins will be forced to feature Raheem Mostert, the incumbent starter, along with Savon Ahmed, who gained a game-high 99 rushing yards on 12 carries against the Texans, and undrafted rookie Chris Brooks, who gained 47 yards on 11 carries.
Did he refer to him as the incumbent starter?
Yes, Raheem Mostert.
We're getting Jonathan Taylor, bro. Come on, man. Incumbent starter. He's the, well, somebody's got to be the starter, so I guess it's Mostert.
Well,
wow.
This also came out, this dropped before the news last night with Jonathan Taylor news. So
I got you. It's just funny how they're like that, like, well, if you got to name somebody the starter, I guess he's the incumbent.
So he mentions that last season the Dolphins carried 4 tailbacks on the 53-man roster, and if that's the magic number for the season, then Miami is going to expose one back, Gaskin or Ahmed, to the waiver wire, giving the other 31 teams an opportunity to claim them. So this is a possibility. Or if Jonathan Taylor is the deal, maybe one of these running backs will go with them. So that's how they kind of, they'll make some shuffle here. Either way, somebody's going to get exposed to the waiver wire. Who that is, that's going to be the biggest question. I think Savon Ahmed has shown us enough that I think he has a step foot over Gaskins, as well as I think he's kind of cementing himself in this room, kind of. It's going to be very hard if he puts up another performance like he did last week. Just saying. You know what I mean?
Yeah, coupled with his rapport with Mike McDaniel, that would probably edge him out.
Yeah, so I mean, in Gaskin, I like him, but it wasn't the Savon Ahmed performance that we saw. You know what I mean? It was good. Just, I don't know. We'll see. I know you like Gaskins, and he kind of flashed, in the first game, so that
agreed, Ali. As much as I do like him, I think that we might finally see him being the worst running back in our room. In other words, they may have finally knocked out the litmus, and it could be Ahmed finally with his performance the other night. Because let's be honest, they both showed up, and showed out, but Ahmed was just all over the place, catching, running. Even caught a touchdown, you know what I mean? Like, he showed me more than he ever has Saturday. And so he may have finally taken that next step and kind of really positioned himself over Gaskin to be the odd man out, you know what I mean? Like, I hate to be finally saying it, but Gaskin might be the odd man out. But at least I'm coming to that from objectivity and not, I just don't like the name, you know what I mean? Or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I understand. No, I definitely hear you, man. I know you were really high on Gaskin, and rightfully so. You saw it before anybody else did that Chase Edmonds was a dud, bro.
Sure, but what have I always said also, Ali, when people strawman me on Gaskin? Ultimately, he's just an RB4. I mean,
yeah.
And if there's an RB4 that's finally better than him, then finally gets him out of the building, then great. We got a new litmus, you know?
Definitely.
In other words, now you have to be better than Ahmed to make the team. You know what I mean? That's fine with me.
So the next thing we're going to talk about is, unfortunately, more injuries to Miami Dolphins. All right, we got more injuries here. QB concerns, white ink concussion protocol color. You heard about this yesterday afternoon. We need to tell the Miami Dolphin fans about.
Broke it on the show, on Crypto Show, as a matter of fact. Live right here on TFTG broke the story. So, yeah, cool.
Yes. So we don't need to tell Miami Dolphin fans about quarterbacks and concussion issues, but here we are again before the 2023 regular season even starts. Head coach Mike McDaniel confirmed during a Zoom media session Monday morning that off-season free agents acquisition Mike White is in concussion protocol after taking a hit in the third quarter of the Dolphins' 28-3 victory against the Houston Texans. And the crazy part, and we can't make this up, was injured after entering the game in the middle of the drive because QB Skylar Thompson was pulled from the game to be evaluated for a concussion. So not only was Mike White put in the game because Skylar Thompson was pulled because of a possible concussion, he got a concussion himself, right? So it's you can't make this stuff up. It happens. It's crazy, right? During the game, some of the staff members noticed some irregularities, McDaniel said. What does that mean exactly? I would say probably just didn't seem right. Wasn't feeling right, maybe. So the whole process began, and I was just told during the game that he was not available.
It could have been the signs that he had cobwebs after that hit that he got up from. It was like, okay, yeah, I thought the same thing, Ali. I'm surprised they didn't pull him out right away.
Yeah, so here's the other thing. I think Miami is being so precautious with injuries in general because of the flack that they got last season. You know what I mean? They're taking oversteps and being over precautious. And I'm glad to see that. But at the same time, you know, as a player perspective, it sucks because you want to get out there and play. I get it. You know what I mean? But I expect Miami to continue this throughout the season, being over precautious and checking for all different signs and whatnot. Not just
and for those of you, and for those Mike White fans out there that wanted to see him, you know, kind of win the QB2 competition, the competition's on hold. Right now, we've got to say Skylar is QB2 because the season is almost here, and the guy competing for his job is in concussion protocol. So Skylar is QB2. There's no doubt about it at this point. It's a non sequitur.
I kind of thought about it myself. That's a good point, Color. Listen, I thought about this myself, you know, in a little bit more detail. And just because training camp is coming to an end, that doesn't mean that the QB2 battle ends there. It actually ends when the season is over, technically.
Right, because it's an ongoing battle, and there's practice every day that they can shine in over each other. And I just think that the competition right now is on hold. So if you're a Mike White fan out there and you were really pulling him for him to be the guy, it ain't over yet, because you know, he's got time. He's in protocol, so he doesn't have to focus on the physical. He can focus on the mental. He can catch himself up further up the speed with our language and playbook and all that. And so at some point through the season, because of exceptional practice, you may see Mike McDaniel change the depth chart. So don't hang your heads low if you're a Mike White fan. You know what I mean? I mean, it is what it is. We are always wanting the best at that spot. So if Mike White graduates to being better throughout the season, Mike McDaniel will make that change. You know, it ain't over. Like Ali said, it's an ongoing battle when it comes to that.
Yeah, it is an ongoing battle. And here's the other thing. If Mike McDaniel has matured as a head coach, and what I mean that is like he's become a little bit more experienced, I think he's going to look at things that they didn't do to prepare properly last season, like people complained that the backup QBs only got maybe 10% of the snaps. You know what I mean? Or hardly any at all with the ones and twos and whatnot. So that's why there was no chemistry build or whatever. I would hope that he goes into the games a little bit more prepared now.
Right.
And you've already kind of seen it. You've seen the Skylar and Mike White playing a lot more with the first and second team than you did last season. You know what I mean? It wasn't just all Tua or whatever. You know what I mean? I think you kind of have to go into the season prepared for that. And that's why I think that this competition is going to keep going, because as they see, you know, the snaps and whatnot with these two guys, they're going to say, okay, he practiced better this week, or no, this guy's been practicing and being more consistent all week in and week out. We got to have him as our next guy here. And they could also, and this is another thing, just because Skylar may have won the QB battle or Mike White may have won it, that doesn't mean in a certain game or situation they may start a different backup QB if they have to do that.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Give you an example. Teddy Bridgewater, later on in the season, they started Skylar over Teddy.
Right, that's what I was going to point out, Ali, is that eventually Skylar himself, Skylar fans will tell you, he eventually won his QB2 job over Teddy Bridgewater throughout the season because of circumstances, you know?
Yeah. So things like that can happen. So just going back to the article color, it says with White's status now unclear for the time being, McDaniel and the Dolphins would be re-signing rookie free agent quarterback James Blackman, who was in training camp with the team before being waived a couple of weeks ago. So I guess they're going to bring him back in because they have to have somebody on the roster for the last
Exactly. They have to have somebody for Saturday night, because if Skylar is now your lock at QB2, you can't be throwing him out there the whole game either now. You know, let's be real. We don't want him to get injured either. So Blackman, sneaky good fantasy play for a showdown lineup Saturday night. Because if he ends up going from the third quarter on and Peterson and McDaniel end up using this game as just to be a sloppy game to check out their fourth stringers, you could find a situation where Blackman just starts slinging it around the field and racking up the yardage. That's a sneaky good fantasy play for those that like to play the crapshoot that is preseason fantasy. But there you go.
Yeah. So they go on to say that will keep the Dolphins with 3 quarterbacks on the roster and will give McDaniel more options in terms of playing time at the position in the preseason finale against Jacksonville Jaguars on Saturday. White's shortened outgoing at Houston. Thompson ended up playing all but 4 snaps against Houston after replacing Tua in the second quarter, but the plan was for Thompson and White to split reps before those plans were derailed. While White ended up playing only 4 snaps against Houston after coming in for Thompson, but one of them was a sack by defensive lineman Adedeo Odelei, I think that's how you say that.
Yeah, that's the hit that he got up and was shaking cobwebs out, bro. I feel like I'm the only one that noticed it, man.
I didn't actually see the hit, so you did notice it over me. On 2nd and 4, the play lost 11 yards. White was taken to the ground by both Odelei and a fellow lineman, Byron Cowards. And they're showing a video of it in this article. White stayed in the game and had handed off 3rd and 20 after a false start penalty and didn't return. Thompson and White played the exact same number of snaps in the preseason opener against Atlanta, and McDaniel said the plan was for them to split snaps, but Thompson going into the game earlier this time. Because of the nature of concussions, it's impossible to know exactly how long White will be out of action, but his absence absolutely could end up playing a role in determining who will start off as Tua's backup when regular season kicks off against Los Angeles Chargers on September 10th. Thompson took the advantage of his opportunity against Houston completing 15 of 22 with 157 yards passing, with 3 touchdowns and no interceptions. For what it's worth, White was listed ahead of Thompson on the depth chart heading into the Houston game.
3 tutties, man. Dang.
And what it says for what it's worth. I want to point that out because preseason depth charts do not mean anything. If anything, it keeps teams guessing. That's basically what it comes down to. Just like how you saw Eichenberg ahead of Isaiah Wynn on the depth chart, based on his performance, you and I would decipher that that's not necessarily accurate. It was Isaiah's, starting position to lose technically, right? And he started the game, the second game. I think that they just put out these names primarily, just in place because there's really no right or wrong answer at this point.
Right. A sidebar I wanted to point out: Wynn played was still in the fourth quarter. I don't know if you noticed that.
No, I did. I actually half of the like when Mike White got injured and they brought in Thompson, I kind of like stopped watching because I was
right. Yeah, I just happened to notice he was on the field like late in the fourth quarter still. I thought it was interesting that they were still riding him that long,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. So it is 10 minutes till 8, and I have a hard stop at 8 o'clock. Make sure you hit like and subscribe. If you have any questions you'd like us to answer, we'll do a little bit Q&A for the last 10 minutes. Put your questions in the chat, and we'll see about answering them. But yeah, do you have anything else for us, Sculler, while we're waiting for them to put questions if they have any?
No, other than, again, last night was a great show. Shout out to Crypto. Debuted his first show yesterday afternoon that ended up going way off the rails into the better part of the morning.
So Level 2 Noob already has a question, and I've already addressed this Level 2 Noob because I saw your comments on Twitter. Are we still pretending we're getting Taylor for a pick in Eichenberg because Notre Dame is in Indiana, even though Ballard didn't like Eichenberg pre-draft, but we'll take him now? Well, first of all,
wholeheartedly, bro.
I was really just kind of kidding at the thing, but when you think about it, he's from that area. And I know that people want to say Ballard didn't want Eichenberg, but that's not necessarily what the draft analysts were saying. They said it was between Eichenberg and another offensive lineman at that time. And just because, and this was my point, just because it hasn't worked out here doesn't mean it's not going to work out somewhere else.
Send him home.
Send him home. No,
but Noob, you're right. I understand where Noob's coming from. And yes, Noob, wholeheartedly, with bells on, I'm jumping in that pool, bro. You're that absolutely.
If that is the deal, then hell yeah, I'm going to take it. Do I think it's going to happen? No. But then again, did you think Jalen Ramsey was going to come here for a 3rd round pick and Hunter Long? Did you think that? No. So you never know. But do I think this has happened? Probably unlikely. I agree with you. I was really just kind of kidding about it because that's obviously who we would want to give up on the offensive line. Just being honest. But there are some connections based on location, where he's at, and the interest that, was popping up in the media prior to that draft. That's all.
On top of that, I mean, we know that Jonathan Taylor has probably partied in the Caribbean. Okay, I mean, it's natural for rich people to go there, And I'm pretty sure that at one time he had a connecting flight in Miami. Bring him home. I'm sorry, I had to, Ollie.
What's up, man? So chill. Man, the Patriots fans do not like Isaiah Wynn for some reason. I think he has more value than what they give him credit for.
They don't ever like to. They're just like us, bro. They get rid of a guy and he's the worst guy they ever had on their squad, man.
It's funny. Oh, man.
I mean, if Belichick didn't want him, he's trash, in their eyes. And I don't blame him for feeling that way,
Oh, he doesn't want to be here. He's trash.
Well, just in general. I mean, when your coach, is responsible for 6 championships for your team, you kind of are like, well, if Belichick didn't want him, the guy's trash. You know what I mean? It's standards,
Yeah.
Can't blame him for that. I mean, it's just like us. If we had Don Shula and Don Shula got rid of a guy, we'd be like, oh, guy's trash. Don Shula didn't want him.
So, Color, we have a question from Roadrunner. Roadrunner is asking, Color, do you think we keep Brooks if he shows out again next game against Jaguars with 2 touchdowns and about 45 yards?
I mean, it's the fan base sentiment is ramping up. They'd be hard pressed to let this guy take a risk on the practice squad. You know what I mean? If he is a big power back like that, which is what we need, I mean, you could see that. You could see him. Chris Brooks has every bit an opportunity this week to make this 53-man squad. Absolutely.
I'm gonna answer it as well. And I'm gonna take my answer from a playbook from some of the I don't want to say beat writers, but other content creators here in the community, right? The Chris Brooks talk is being, in my opinion, ramped up by Omar Kelly and some of the other fans. And this is the reason why I'm going to say this. I didn't even know who Chris Brooks was until this 95-yard touchdown came out of nowhere that nobody saw unless you were in the bubble, because public can't see that, right? Yeah, he had a nice showing in practice, but that's what it is, practice, first of all. And in the game, yeah, he was okay. But 45 yards, is that a lot on 11 carries? I guess it's not too bad, Color. I mean, what do you think? I think Savon Ahmed
that's about 4 yards a carry.
But I think Savon Ahmed has proven more that he deserves a spot on this roster more than Brooks has.
That may be, but it may be a case of, particular skill set. You know what I mean? Like those 2 touchdowns, I'm guessing, came near the goal line.
Oh, I don't know. I know he caught one touchdown from Skyler. He caught one.
Okay.
So I don't know about the other touchdown, but if he shells out, let's say he has a game similar to Savon Ahmed on the next preseason game, right? The last one against the Jaguars. Then I would say it is kind of hard. It at least gives Miami a lot to think about. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot to think about. What's up, Ken Rankin? How you doing?
But I'd also be careful, to think that this guy is anything more than a Jared Dokes. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
you got to be careful there too.
Yeah.
We like him, but we could end up seeing him on the practice squad for the next 4 years.
We also liked the other kid. I think he played for the South Carolina Gamecocks, that running back that was undrafted last season. And I think he scored a touchdown. Yeah, he scored a touchdown. Yeah, and look at him. He's not even on the practice squad or anything.
Exactly.
Just let him go. So, I'm trying to see if there's any upcoming or breaking news that populated. Just bear with me a moment.
That's why I tried to find out if he had any relation to old James Brooks, because then you're talking about name, star power. Then you're looking at like, well, maybe he just took a different path at the NFL than the average guy. But if he's related to James Brooks, that's star power, man, and that means that you do have that could indicate a sleeper. You know what I mean? But Mo had looked into it. I guess Mo confirmed that there's no relation with him and James Brooks.
Okay.
James Brooks was exactly the same type of runner too. That's the irony. Tall, big-shouldered, and not super tall, but like top heavy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I definitely hear you. Just checking to see if there's anything late breaking, Color. What other shows are going on today? Do you have anything coming up, Color?
I do not for today. Today is Tuesday, so I think we might be getting an episode of TMI tonight.
That's
Back in
right.
action,
I
back
almost
in action
forgot.
for the
I
first
almost
time in a year.
forgot. Thank you for reminding me. The man, the legend, Tonk is back with TFTG, and TMI Tuesdays is back.
Mm-hmm.
And I apologize for not shouting you out, Tonk. I completely forgot. I feel bad. I'm a bad team member. I am
You
so
are,
sorry.
man. Do better, Ollie.
I need to do better. Yeah, I don't see anything.
Fortunately, Tonk is a very forgiving individual, and you'll be all right.
Yep, I know.
But yeah, he's been back. We ain't had TMI on in at least a year, and you're gonna get a little off topic, a little less Dolphins talk, a little more other sports, and again, the human side of things. That's why we had the show to begin with, and do that kind of format, because we want everybody to remember that these guys are all human beings and men. And when we make our takes about who's going where, you've got to always factor that stuff in, because that stuff does come into play. If a guy doesn't want to play in the heat of Miami, it doesn't matter whether we think he should be here or not. He ain't coming. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. 100%. Caller, final thoughts. Anything?
That'd be it, man.
That'd be it.
Great show.
Hey, everyone, thank you for coming and joining us and having a good time. I love talking about this stuff with you guys. Make sure you hit like, subscribe, turn on notification. As I said yesterday, we have a plethora of content that's going to be being thrown out on the daily, all day long, right? It is crazy the amount of shows and content we're going to be throwing out. You're going to be really surprised. Some of it's already been pre-scheduled, so definitely check scheduling.
Really quickly, Ali, we left out Ken a couple of weeks ago, and I don't want to leave his question out today because it's a good one. Why get Taylor when this O-line is in question? 2 points, Kenna, because our O-line is getting better. We don't need to be anything more than mid-ranked compared to where we were, given how much yardage we put up last year. And number two, Jonathan Taylor put up over 900 yards in 11 games last year behind the 28th ranked offensive line.
Yeah, so he's already used to playing back, behind the worst offensive line. And in addition, a good running back such as Jonathan Taylor makes your offensive line better. So just being honest. So definitely check that out. Well,
Ali, to your point, this is why crypto yesterday just rightfully assumed that, or maybe it wasn't crypto, it was somebody else. They rightfully assumed that the Indianapolis had a top 5 offensive line because they just went based off Jonathan Taylor's numbers, and they don't realize he did that behind a 28th ranked offensive line.
Yeah, that's true. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Make sure you like, subscribe. I'll see you tomorrow, first thing, 6 a.m. Fins up.